Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're targeting a super specific yet incredibly common frustration. If you've ever stepped onto a pickleball court, you know the exact feeling I'm talking about. You're ready, the ball is coming right at you, you wind up, and suddenly, thwack. It goes straight into the net, or worse, flies way out of bounds. Today, we're taking a really close look at the shot beginners always get wrong. Okay, let's dive into this. Why do beginners always miss this one basic shot? It's kind of the great mystery of the court, honestly. You see it happen over and over again, totally regardless of a player's athletic background. So today, we're going to pinpoint exactly why this happens and, way more importantly, how you can fix it. Because let's be real, it's a completely universal struggle. If this sounds like you, please don't worry, you are absolutely not alone here. The truth is, it's not that you lack coordination, it's just that there's a very specific breakdown happening in the fundamentals of this particular swing. Section 1. 3 common shot mistakes. Diagnosing the breakdown. Let's figure out exactly what goes wrong. All right, here they are, the 3 ultimate villains of the court. We've got too much power, poor paddle angle, and late footwork. Now, when you first step onto the court, I get it. There's this overwhelming, almost primal urge to just absolutely crush the ball. We all want to be the hero and swing as hard as humanly possible, right? But these 3 specific errors are exactly what end up sabotaging that basic shot. Let's look at the first culprit. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that our very first trap is using excessive force rather than executing the correct technique. Relying on brute strength is pretty much our first instinct as beginners, but in this game, it actively works against you. Force without technique just leads to a wildly missed shot every single time. Then we have the second error, a poor paddle angle. This happens when there's an incorrect positioning of the paddle face right during the swing. Listen, you might swing with literally all the enthusiasm in the world, but if your paddle face is angled straight down into the floor or wildly tilted upwards, well, the ball is going exactly where that angle dictates. It directly sabotages the basic shot, no matter how good your intentions might be. And that brings us to the final piece of this failure puzzle, late footwork. Basically, this is failing to move into the proper position in time to actually strike the ball. You end up reaching, you're totally off balance, and suddenly that basic shot completely breaks down. Your arms are desperately trying to compensate for what your feet failed to do. So these 3 elements combined, too much power, a bad angle, and slow feet, they literally create the perfect storm for a beginner's mistake. Section 2. The correct technique. Transforming your game in a simple way. It's time to shift from the frustration of the problem to the relief of the solution. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact fix for this breakdown, which is actually a direct one-to-one swap. We are intentionally replacing those frantic bad habits with 3 new solid pillars of technique: control, placement, and timing. I want you to think of this as your sequential mental checklist to run through before you even take your very next swing. Step 1, establish control. Step 2, perfect the timing. And step 3, focus on placement. Breaking the technique down into this simple sequence ensures it just doesn't feel overwhelming in the heat of the moment, You just calmly run through this checklist. So step 1 is control. This is your direct, intentional counter to that urge to just completely smash the ball. Instead of muscling through the shot, you're going to focus entirely on the mechanics of the swing itself. When you prioritize control over power, that wild, excessive force naturally dials itself right back. Next up is timing, which is finding the correct physical rhythm. The cool thing here is that when you really focus on your timing, you naturally force your feet to start moving earlier. It completely resolves that super frustrating issue of being caught off guard. You're getting into position first, establishing that rhythm, so the ball meets your paddle exactly when and where it's supposed to. Finally, we arrive at placement. This is the intentional targeting that naturally corrects a poor paddle angle. Think about it. If you're focused strictly on exactly where you want that ball to go, you instinctively have to adjust the angle of your paddle to make that happen. The pure intention to place the ball correctly literally forces the paddle into the right position, allowing you to direct the shot perfectly instead of just swinging and hoping for the best. Section 3. Building your court confidence. The ultimate payoff. Let's look at what happens when you put all of this together on the court. It really all comes down to this simple mental map right here. Whenever you catch yourself falling into a trap, you just consciously apply its fix. Notice you're using too much power? Bring in control. Struggling with late footwork? Focus on your timing. Poor paddle angle? Shift your attention immediately to placement. Memorizing this super simple exchange completely changes your approach. So the crucial point is helping players understand control, timing, and placement so they can build confidence and avoid easy mistakes. That right there is the true goal of this entire breakdown. It's not just about somehow getting a ball over a net. It's about completely reframing how you approach the game mechanically so you actually enjoy playing it without all the stress. Because by just acknowledging those common traps and deliberately applying these 3 simple fixes, you actively transform all that beginner frustration into real, tangible court confidence. It might be a simple technique breakdown, but I promise you, it fundamentally changes your entire game. Which leaves us with this final thought for you to chew on. Will you focus on control, timing, or placement the next time you step on the court? The next time you feel that overwhelming urge to just absolutely smash the ball, I want you to remember this explainer. Pick just one of these 3 fixes, apply it to your swing, and just watch those easy mistakes disappear. Thanks for learning with me today, and keep focusing on those fundamentals.